Alright, so hopefully you have seen Justice League by now. I know it's pretty early for the Justice League release thing. It comes out like today on the nose. But just fair warning, this is the Justice League spoiler talk. I'm going to talk about some spoilers. Not going to be a play-by-play of the entire movie or anything. So when your knee-jerk reaction is like, why didn't you talk about this? And I probably forgot. I don't use scripts. Probably should, but I don't. So anyhow, here we go. Let's talk about it. Okay, so starting out, the general plot is Steppenwolf is looking for these 3 cubes called mother boxes. If he gets all 3 cubes, he puts them together and he can ultimately make the world a shittier version of itself, making way for Darkseid. Which is only slightly different from The Legend of Zelda, in which case Ganondorf is looking for these 3 triangles called Triforces. If he gets them all and puts them together, he can make the world a shittier version of itself. But what this movie did well in that plot is establish the characters for their individual stories. Most notably, Cyborg. I'm less familiar with Cyborg than everyone else. I didn't really watch the Teen Titans cartoon. My real introduction to Cyborg, other than, Smallville, kind of, was Injustice, and even then he's bad. He's the one who's kind of discovering his powers. He didn't know how much he could actually hack. He can do a lot. So he was essentially created by a mother box, and there's one part where he even talks about how there's a language in his head that he can't understand. But moments like that make me think, because I start thinking of extremes, are they bringing in Grid? Are they going to bring in Grid at a point? Something in his head that he doesn't understand? Like, is it another presence there that's not him? Sounds like Grid prelude. I mean, if the DC Cinematic Universe goes on for long enough, yes, they will absolutely, positively, eventually bring Grid into it. I feel like that was a prelude to Grid. I'm hoping so anyway. Or it could just be a general statement. It's like, I have an alien language in my head because it's alien. Then we meet Batman, who at first is just scaring the shit out of a dude, which is funny because I think to myself, where'd you learn that you had to do that? The dude's like, what do you want from me? And he's like, fear, they can smell it. Batman needed to have that happen, but I was like, you learned that at a point. Did you learn it before this movie ever began? Or did you learn it in what I'm going to call the Snyder Cut? I don't know. The end result was fine though, because it's like, you don't need to know how he learned that information to know that he learned that information. Probably from Lex Luthor's notes. I don't know how Lex Luthor learned it. Probably from the ship. But I love how you hear a hint of that Batman theme from Danny Elfman. You're like, oh wow, that's like Mask of the Phantasm. There's something about that kind of fan service. It fits, but it's also fan service. No one can actually look at it and be like, ugh, that theme just didn't fit with the movie. If they do, they're just... Don't be a dick. It's a Batman theme. The big thing that happens is Superman, as we know, is dead. So now to take on Steppenwolf, they're like, we need Superman back. The way that we'll bring him back, which is you take a mother box, you put it in the liquid where Lex Luthor ultimately turns Zod into Doomsday, and then hopefully that'll bring him back, and it works. And that's kind of one of the things where I said there were contradictions in timeline or events. One of them is that the mother box brings Superman back to life. At the end of Batman vs. Superman, you saw the pebbles float off the casket going, he's still alive? But the pebbles floating off the casket really did nothing. They mean nothing. What they are is a fourth wall breaking moment where the director is literally like, Superman will return. The pebbles floating off the casket really, they don't mean anything because he had no power. He wasn't gonna fly out of the casket. He was dead. He was as dead as Elvis, which means he's in a trailer park outside Milwaukee right now. The other one jumping tracks for a second is when Cyborg was created. You find out in this movie that his dad used the mother box on him, turning him into Cyborg after Superman had died. Whereas in Batman vs. Superman, you see it happen in the footage before that. So a little bit of timeline fuckery there in my opinion. But as for Superman, it works. The mother box, the liquid, boom, Superman lives. But after that, he's not really himself. He doesn't remember who he is. You feel like his memories are fragmented. He just has the emotional state. He's like, he knows who Batman is, kind of. Or he just knows that he sees him and he just thinks fight. Point is, there's kind of a throwdown that happens between Superman and the rest of the Justice League. And I thought it was great because when Ezra Miller, the Flash, is running past his Superman, how's everyone? The Flash is thinking, all right, I'm gonna run around and, I don't know, push him over. And Superman just looks at him and he just sees his eye following him. The Flash is like, oh my God, is he looking at me? Just his eyeball, it's menacingly following the Flash as he's running around behind him. You'd see that how that would freak him out. Flash is used to being like, I'm so fast, no one's eyes follow me when I'm doing this. It's gotta be a mind-blowing experience for the guy, and it also tells me one thing for sure. He has yet to go up against Reverse Flash, which we all knew because he just already said, I just run around and push people over. I've never been in a fight. But after that all ends and Superman gets his memory back because Lois shows up, and then you see an exit portal and it's just kind of like, ba-boom. All right, well, he got that mother box, I guess. Right there, I was like, did he? Or was there an entire segment that was cut out of what I will call the Snyder Cut? I'm telling you, if the extended Snyder Cut edition comes out and that's still how it goes down there, I'm gonna go ahead and call that one lazy. I do find it funny that in the trailer, you straight up see Superman in the trailer. The scene where he's in the cornfield talking to Lois, but they cut it together to make it look like it was a dream Lois was having. No, that's actually him talking to Lois. Sneaky, sneaky. That's pretty tricky. I like it. But when Superman came back, I was looking at his face and I was like, why does his face look kind of weird? It's like it has an Instagram filter on it or something. Because I had totally forgotten that he was brought back to do reshoots and he had a big mustache. And he was like, I can't shave the mustache. I need it for this other movie I'm doing right now. So you're gonna have to CG it out. And they were like, that's cool. That's what we're gonna do. So that's why his face looks a little strange. The fact that it took me out and I had a question mark over my head means there's no escaping this. If people who knew and remembered noticed it, you'd be like, oh, it's because you knew. But I totally didn't remember. So the fact that I was like, why does his face look weird, means 100% of the population is going to notice that. However, Batman's beard was fucking solid. That was some good man bush. That's another thing this movie did well, is that it gave you little tidbits to kind of know where their worlds are. I mean, I for one have seen the Flash TV show, so have a lot of people, so I imagine the Flash's story isn't too mysterious, but you know his mom died and his dad was blamed for it. For Aquaman, just one interaction he has with Mara, you know he's the king of Atlantis because she's like, this is your responsibility, and you also know there's some tension between him and the Atlanteans. So I want to see that. I want to see where that goes. Game of Thrones underwater, my friends. You see a Green Lantern in one scene, not Hal Jordan, but in a flashback where you see Steppenwolf fighting the Amazons, a bunch of people were brought into this war, and you see a Green Lantern flying around. He gets killed, his ring flies off his finger, flies to someone else. So we're getting Green Lantern. That shit is happening. Also for me, you do see the differences in tone. Like the scene where Superman comes back to life, he goes a little nuts, he fights everyone, he throws Batman, and after it's all over, Batman's on the ground. It's one shot where he's like, oh yeah, my leg hurts, or my leg's broken, or something like that. Those after the fact jokes are so what Joss Whedon is known for. I have to assume like that's gotta be Joss Whedon, right? But I would really like to see someone who did not even know that Zack Snyder was not the director for post-production. Joss Whedon was brought in, did some reshoots. I'd like to find a person who has been under a rock, who didn't know that information, show them the movie and be like, did you notice anything? If they're like, no, it was directed by one person, right? Then it passes the cinematic Turing test, I guess. Heartfelt scene. A scene I really liked is when the first time a few of them are gonna save people. That's when Flash is like, I don't get into fights. I just run really fast and push people over. Batman's like, save one person. That's all I want you to do. Flash goes, what about after that? Batman goes, you'll know. And that's exactly what happens. He saves one person. He's like, I need to save another one. And he just saves people. I thought that was remarkably effective. That was a cool superhero moment right there. A seasoned superhero talking to the rookie superhero. And that's the kind of nugget you want, man. Just one thing, one line that just completely changes the way he sees something. Then when Steppenwolf gets taken out or eaten by his own parademons, all the evil bad things turn into flowers, I guess. I don't know why that happened, really. It just does. Maybe it's because the power of the mother boxes and creating life, and it just created life, I guess. I'm stretching right there. I don't actually have an idea. Because flowers are good and the evil shit was bad. And now we're in the world of good. There are two post-credit scenes. One, I would put money that it was Joss Whedon. And it's the one where Superman and the Flash were like, all right, we got to do this. And they're going to race. That's it. They're going to race. I mean, that is comic book fan 101 right there. And of course, when it takes off, it cuts black. You don't see who wins. We'll probably never actually know. It'll be like the Apollo Creed Rocky fight. But the other post-credit scene is Lex Luthor's actually in the movie, and it's Jesse Eisenberg. You can tell he's a bit more calm. He's pulled it back a little bit. But he's talking to Deathstroke, Slade Wilson, and Deathstroke takes off his mask, and it's Joe Manganiello. That's right, Flash Thompson pumped some iron, got swole, now he's Deathstroke. Point is, they're gonna make a super group themselves. And if you look it up, there are so many bad guy super groups that have been made. It could be the Injustice League, could be one of 100 things. Guys, in the end, Justice League I thought was a lot of fun. That's what I go to movies like this for. I go to movies like this for fun. I thought this was a light at the end of the tunnel kind of scenario. I thought it focused up. Obviously not to everybody, so I don't know what's gonna happen with the franchise after this. Hopefully it turns a profit. If it does, I feel like that's what'll matter. As we know, the Flash's movie is going to be Flashpoint. Now, at first I was like, I understand it's kind of a contingency. If this movie doesn't land, they're gonna hit the reset button with Flashpoint, I imagine. But at this point, you get so interested in the characters among the Justice League's worlds that I don't want to see that happen. I'm just saying, pump the brakes. Aquaman also told Wonder Woman, he was like, yeah, our people were at war some time ago. I wasn't around for that. I imagine they're foreshadowing for Flashpoint, so you know that conflict is there among their people. Then you see it happen and the world's just caught in the middle of it. I would love to see Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman be a dick. I would love to see Jeffrey Dean Morgan be Batman for one movie, then reset it and have it go back. If they're doing this so Ben Affleck can step down from being Batman, I get it if he doesn't want to do it. And granted, there are some scenes in this movie I'm like, I don't know that he wants to be there. Again, don't know if I'm just seeing that because I've heard the stories, the rumors, and the murmurings. I'd like to think it's not true. I think he's great as Batman. I'm just saying I don't want the Control-Alt-Delete, man. Let's stick around for a bit. All right, so Justice League, have you seen it? What did you think about it? Or what's your favorite and least favorite parts? Whatever they are, whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.